20 seconds.
Thanks. I appreciate it, Bob.
Okay. I'm gonna start muting a few people here.
There aren't that many of us, so yeah.
Yeah. Susan, I'll keep you live.
Shabbat Shalom. Good Shabbos. We're delighted you're joining us wherever you may be in space, as together in time we say farewell to Shabbat. I thought tonight that it would be appropriate, since we 2 weeks ago talked a lot about mothers. It was the Motzei Shabbat right before Mother's Day, and we were blessed with the presence of Marilyn Price that Sunday morning. And some of you may remember that I said at the beginning and the end of God, there is Mom. And so I thought tonight it would be only fair to perhaps give Dad some equal time. So once upon a time, long time ago, when God was about to begin to create the world, God had to decide what letter God was going to begin Torah with. And needless to say, all the letters in the Hebrew alphabet wanted to be the first letter in Torah. And most of them gathered around God, arguing with each other why any one of these specific letters should be the first letter. Now, it was no surprise when Hati Taf decided that he would just approach God and say that he should be the first letter. So he goes to God and said, God, you absolutely positively have to start Torah with me. And God kind of looked a little surprised and said, well, Taf, why should you begin Torah? Why should I pick you? And Taf said, well, God, it's obvious, because I begin the Hebrew word Torah. You have to begin with me. And God thought for a couple of minutes and said, well, you know, Taf, for being such a braggart and for being so haughty, you know what I've decided to let you do? I've decided to let you go last, not first. Toph was surprised and stormed away. And then a little more hesitantly, Kuf came forward. And Kuf said to God, God, you know, I think I'd be a great letter with which to start Torah. And God again looked at Kuf, who's able, of course, to stand on one leg, and said, so Kuf, why should we begin Torah with you? And Kuf said, well, God, you know, I begin the Hebrew word kadosh. Goes to God and said, God, you kadosh, 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 you are holy, 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 eternal one. And so you should begin with me. And God thought, well, you know, Kuf, you're making a very good argument. The problem is, Kuf, you also begin the Hebrew word klala, which means curse. And I really don't want to start Torah, create the world with a curse. They're going to have enough curses anyhow, because I'm going to create human beings. And so, thanks for offering, Kuf, but no. So then Sadi came forward. And Sadi said, God, I think I would be a good letter with which to begin Torah. And God looked at Sadi and said, so Sadi, why should I begin Torah with you? And he said, so God, if you begin with me, you know, it makes sense, because I begin the Hebrew word tzedakah and tzaddik. And what better way to begin Torah to create the world than with justice and righteousness? God said, that's the best argument I've heard so far. You know, but then God said, but you know, Tzadi, you also begin the Hebrew word sorot, which someday will become the Yiddish word tsuris. And I don't want to begin the world with all kinds of tsuris and problems. So thank you for the offer. And this continued with 17 other letters of the Hebrew alphabet. There were 2 left. And finally, very shyly, very modestly, the Hebrew letter Bet inched forward and said, "O sovereign of the universe, may it be your will to begin Torah through me, seeing that everyone is going to praise you through me because I begin the Hebrew word Baruch and Baracha. And the blessings will flow to you and to everyone else through me." And God was so moved by Bet's argument that God said, "You're right, Bet. You're going to begin Torah. In fact, you're going to begin the first two words of Torah, Bereshit bara." And God was so pleased at God's work. And God looked around and said, "Oh, there's one more letter here. You over there. How come you haven't said anything?" And so Aleph, all Aleph could do was shrug. Because Aleph, in spite of what you may think, is the only silent letter in the entire Hebrew alphabet. I know some of you think that ayin is a silent letter, but it's not. Here's the secret for those of you who really want to know how to pronounce ayin. And I'm an Ashkenazi Jew, so I don't do a very good job. But ayins are pronounced, it's the sounds you make when you're about to throw up. That's a secret for you. So if you can make that sound in your throat right before you throw up, then you know the sound an ayin makes. But Aleph couldn't say anything. And so God, in God's infinite wisdom, because Aleph was so modest, God said to Aleph, "Aleph, you stand to the right of Bet. Together now, the two of you will form the Aleph Bet, or the alphabet. But even more important, the two of you now form a very special word, because Aleph and Bet, you form the Hebrew word Av, or Abba. And now it is from fathers that all words and all blessings flow." And so that's how the Torah began, with Bet. And that's how we got the Aleph Bet. And that's how we know how important fathers are. And with that, we want to get ready to say farewell to Shabbat. While our cantor sings, you might want to gather your Havdalah sets together, pour the wine, prepare the spices, find your candles, and then we'll gather again to do Havdalah.
Shalom Shabbat, Shalom Shabbat, Shalom Shabbat, Shalom Shabbat, Shalom Shabbat, Umevorach. Shalom Shabbat Umevorach. Shalom Shabbat. Shalom Shabbat. Shalom Shabbat. Shalom Shabbat.
And so when God began to create with the letter Bet, the first act of creation God did was to make sure that there would be light. And so as the world now is in our hands, the first act we do is we create light. And then we might wish to darken our other light.
Ya 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 la 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 ya 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 la 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 ya la 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 ya la la ya la la ya 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 la 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 ya la ya la 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 ya la la la, ya la, ya la la, ya la la. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen borei peri hagafen. Ya 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 la 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 ya la ya la 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 ya la 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 ya ya la ya la la ya la la ya 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 la 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 ya la ya la 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 ya la 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 ya ya la ya la la ya la la. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei minei v'samim borei minei v'samim ya 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 la 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 ya ya la 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 ya la 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 ya ya la ya la la ya la la ya 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 la 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 ya la ya la 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 ya ya la 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 ya la la ya la la ya la la. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei meorei haesh borei meorei haesh ya 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 la 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 ya la ya la 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 ya la 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 ya ya la ya la la ya la la ya 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 la 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 ya la ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la la ya la la ya la la. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamabdil ben kodesh lechol hamabdil ben kodesh lechol.
La 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 la
Ya
la.
ya la 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 ya la ya la 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 ya la 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 ya ya la ya la la ya la la ya 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 la 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 ya la ya la 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 ya la 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 ya ya la ya la la ya la la ya 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 la 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 ya la ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la la ya la la ya la la. Eliyahu hanavi Eliyahu hatishbi Eliyahu 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 hagiladi Bimhera veyamenu yavo elenu Mashiach ben David Mashiach ben David Eliyahu hanavi Eliyahu hatishbi Eliyahu 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 hagiladi Hamabdil ben kodesh lecho Chatotenu yimcho Zarenu v'chaspenu yarbekecho V'hakochavim balayla Shavuatov Shavuatov Shavuatov, 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 a good week, a week of peace. May gladness reign and joy increase. a good week, a week of peace. May gladness reign and joy increase.
Shavua Tov to all of you, a good and sweet and healthy week as you snuggle up, if you can, with your fathers and your mothers. And we'll see you in the days to come. Shavua Tov.
Shavua Tov.
Shavua Tov, everyone.
Shavua Tov.
Shavua Tov.
Shavua Tov, everyone.
Shavua Tov. Shavua Tov to everyone.
Oh, there's a kitty cat.
That's Rufio.
Ah, that's Rufio.
Thank you.
Of course. So my dog
Andrea,
right
thank
now
you
is
all.
going, where's the cat?
Yes.
Andrea, thank you also for your participation in the choir video.
It was wonderful.
you're welcome.
Oh, that was
Beautiful.
so
Wonderful.
fabulous.
It turned out great.
It was just fabulous. Thank you
You're
so
welcome.
much. I certainly felt so good after seeing it because it was just wonderful.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, no, the choir sounded great in their respective places. It came together beautifully.
It
Yeah.
amazed me how they did that.
I know.
Scott put a good little tutorial together for us.
Oh,
Yeah.
We did.
That's great.
it was
So how
magical.
were you listening to the instruments?
Yes.
Oh, piano. So to keep together,
Yeah, basically.
everyone had the same timing.
Yeah, basically we all had the same track that we listened to in our earbuds. You saw some people may have had earbuds on.
Mhm.
Some people had Bluetooth ones. You couldn't see them as much, but everyone is listening to the same piano, so it's in the same time. They're listening in their ears, and then they have a recording. Maybe the computer has a video, is videoing what they're saying. So what the video is picking up is the person singing in the right time, and then Scott uses that track that we were all listening to separately. That becomes the track of the piano or whatever instrument it is, and then he puts all the videos together, and we talk about where they should appear on the screen, and so.
It turned out great.
It was
Yeah.
great.
It was.
But that's
It
how,
was
because
just
everybody
wonderful.
listens to the same thing, because otherwise it wouldn't be together, right?
And Lois made an audio room out of our walk-in closet. Yeah,
Yes.
That's great. Wonderful.
Was the editing process a long one?
We're getting better. We did the first one with the kids, and that one was even a little more tricky because we wanted a little more motion. So people were coming in and out and going up and down and around. This one we could kind of just have the choir. We didn't have to do the kind of like the moving around as much.
It wasn't as
kind of
dynamic.
thinking ahead of time, where are people going to be, and then putting them in those spots and mixing it. And sometimes when Scott has people send in the videos, they might have like shot like this,